So I have Codeblocks installed on Windows 11, and I also have the simplest Hello World program. But when I try to build and run this program, I get this error. The compiler setup, GNU GCC compiler, is invalid. So Codeblocks cannot find or run the compiler. So why does it happen? The reason is that Codeblocks is an IDE, an integrated development environment, but it's not a compiler. In order to build our program and generate an executable file from it, we must have a compiler, and that's what we're missing. So let's install a compiler. To do that, let's open the browser, and let's head over to codeblocks.org. Here I'm going to choose Downloads and download the binary release. Here it's important that we choose this file, as this one contains mingw, which is the compiler that we're going to use, as opposed to this download that doesn't include the compiler. So let's download the installer that includes the compiler. And we need to wait for 5 seconds. And it's being downloaded. And the installer can now be found in the Downloads folder. And here is the previous installer that I used before and doesn't include the compiler. And here's the one that we downloaded now, and this one contains the mingw compiler. So this is the one that we want now. First, let's close Codeblocks so it won't cause problems during the installation. And let's now run the installer with the compiler. So next, I agree. And here I'm going to uncheck everything except for the last box. And that's because we already have Codeblocks installed. The only thing that we want to install now is the mingw compiler. So make sure that it's the only thing that's selected, then click on Next. And I'll go with the default destination folder. And we're being warned that this directory already exists, but it is to be expected as we already installed Codeblocks before. And the compiler is being installed. It will take a minute or two. And it was installed. We'll run it in a minute, but let's first close the installer. And let's take a look at our Codeblocks installation folder. Here it is. And now we have a new folder here, mingw, which is the folder where the compiler is installed. So let's open Codeblocks again. And I'll open my project. Here it is. And we now need to click on Settings and choose Compiler. And now we need to choose the Toolchain Executable tab. And we can specify the path for the mingw compiler over here, or we can just click on Auto Detect. And Codeblocks found it in our new mingw folder. So that's fine. And let's click on OK. And when we try to build and run our program now, we can see that it was successfully built, and we can see the expected output.